Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Sunday night, and I wanted to go over a few stocks, actually a pretty good handful of stocks from the Stock Twits 50 list for this week, and just give you my opinions on the charts, um, and to show you some of the routine I look at and when I'm screening for charts that are presented to me. So I guess this is separate from a screen. It's more of I have a list already provided, and I'm just kind of going through them and deciding whether I want to flag them and shorten them down onto a watch list for myself. Because I'm not going to watch all 50 Stock Twits 50 stocks, right? I'm just going to maybe pull out a few that look the best, add them to my own watch list, and keep an eye on them. Maybe set a couple alerts and things like that. Um, one thing we can all do to make the trading day harder is to watch way too many stocks, and then you miss the trades. So don't overdo it. But here's some stocks I'm looking at, or some charts I'd like to go through with you. ALJ, um, pretty simple. A couple things jump out at me. The obvious increase in volume over the last couple of months is important, right? I don't know what happened to suddenly get it interest from basically no volume. This is under 100K, all of these. To now it has, 285K is low for me, but there's consistent volume around it, so it's worth looking at. It's it's kind of creating a little triangle over the last week or so. From this, I didn't draw the bottom line, but so it needs to break through this resistance level. Obviously, the ideal break would be above this candle here. But some of the things I look at, what's going on with volume? Well, the volume is slowed. It's dried underneath its 50-day moving average, which is fine because we're in a consolidation pattern. It's sitting on exponential moving average 8, which is this yellow line. It's just sitting on it, consolidating. Nothing wrong with that. RSI 7's moving up. That's a good sign. What I do need to see, though, before I'll probably consider for a swing, is this MACD line to cross its exponential 9 moving average, which is this thin line right above it. You notice it's just drifting below it. So that's kind of a bearish divergence. You have price consolidating and actually putting in higher lows, and you have a declining MACD. I don't like that. So it'll take a little bit of volume and a move probably through this resistance level to turn that MACD above its exponential moving average, exponential 9, EMA 9. Let's just call it EMA 9. For me to get a little more interested in it. Let's say I do want to play it and it breaks through this line. I would go in at probably a half position, or I'd kind of nibble at it until I see some confirmation of this cross. And you also notice the momentum, which is this yellow line down here at the bottom. The momentum is divergent as well. So price has generally been moving up, especially over the last week or so. It's been moving up or moving sideways, if anything, but momentum has slowed, which is, again, not bad in a consolidation period. You're losing some momentum, but it's dropped below 100, and I kind of have a rule. I'm looking for on swing trades for stocks to move up through 100, MACD to cross its exponential EMA 9, a little bit of volume to boot to carry it along, and I would prefer to buy swing trades on a squeezing Bollinger Band, which you see a squeeze here, and obviously it's very squeezed back here. Right now it's a little wide. That doesn't mean it can't open up, but it's just pieces of the puzzle to help you determine how much risk. In other words, if it goes above this resistance level, I'm not all in. I'm not going in heavy because there's just not enough yet for me to see the convincing move. We have low volume, MACD's below, momentum's decreasing. So those are things, and Bollinger Bands aren't very tight. So those are things just to consider when you're considering position size. Yes, it could leg up. It has a tendency to consolidate and leg up, consolidate and leg up. But In an ideal world, I'd rather see it pull back to forward weighted moving average 50, which is this kind of orange dotted line, and then give us more of a risk reward opportunity. But something to think about. It could go and it could get some volume behind it, and I'll participate, but I'll start small. ALTR, actually, there's nothing to show here. This was one I pointed out last week. It had this uh, declining channel, or declining channel, downward facing channel, and it broke out on it. And you notice the Bollinger Bands broke out. The Bollinger Bands, let me zoom in a little bit for you, is this blue line, okay? And the Keltner channels is this kind of greenish color, this color, yellow green, I don't know what you call that. But you notice that it was the Bollinger Bands as we're channeling down was starting to tighten up and got really tight on this day. See how that points down and that points up, and it tightened really well. Well, the next day saw the big break, right? But on this day, the next day was your entry, right? Because on this day you had that indicator, you had the tight Bollinger Bands. You didn't have MACD crossing above its EMA 9 yet, right? It was still below, right here. Momentum was headed up. That's a good sign. ADX was headed up, so you had some indicators that said, something may be about to happen, right? So the next morning, as soon as it cleared above, was the entry on ALTR. I'm not looking for an entry now. It's above Bollinger Bands. I want some consolidation. It's not really a trade for me right now. APKT, you have an ascending triangle. Here's the bottom line support and obviously the top line resistance. Yeah, it's an ascending triangle. Ascending triangles are good. You have to watch them because they could break out. You can see it clearly when you pull it out. It did fail to break it on Friday, which is a little concerning, but the volume has been nice the last 2 days. We do have a positive MACD cross. Not a positive MACD, but an exponential cross, so that's positive. We did get an ADX cross. Momentum's a little flat. Would like to see it pop up a little bit. But it's definitely one worth watching. If we can get, obviously, a strong move through this resistance level, then I might scale into the position. But what I'd like to see is it actually get above and then consolidate and hold this support line and then take it as a opportunity to jump in. I'm not convinced yet, in other words. Ariba. Let's see, what can we show in Ariba? Decreasing volume, consolidating range. Bollinger Bands haven't tightened up much, but the trading range has tightened up, which is nice. We do have RSI moving up. Now, the MACD is really ugly right now, but, what we're really looking for is see if it bounces off zero here and turns back up. But it's way below its exponential 9, EMA 9, so that's not very attractive. But, we have, if you look down here at the bottom, you do see a ADX possibly setting up for a cross. You see momentum possibly setting up to cross 100 here in the next couple of days. So it's worth a watch. I'm not really that excited about it, to be honest with you. I'd like to see maybe get above this candle on this big reach up. But you notice, if you just step back and look, you see that the MACD is just kind of drifting down. You notice that this level in the MACD here, you see the tops, this peak, corresponding with this peak in price, right? Well, what happens when you go over to this area in price, which is higher level in price, but lower level in MACD, which means it had less energy behind that move, less energy, less strength. So don't get overly excited about Ariba. I would give it a little time, and let's see if it consolidates a little more. See if we can hold zero on the MACD, because we may just get a negative cross, and it's not really worth it. BHI, it broke through first level resistance last week on Wednesday. Actually, on Tuesday. Sorry, I forgot we weren't open on Friday. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It broke through on Tuesday, and now on Thursday we hit strong against this horizontal resistance level. It's very easy to see. All the indicators look good, however. See the cross. I would like to see momentum point up a little more, but the indicators are strong. If we look at the weekly, you have to be careful. The MACD is looking to cross south bearishly. So it needs to bounce now. So watch for it to get through this horizontal resistance level. That'll put you at about 75 and a quarter, 75.50 to be safe. And then look at the weekly and confirm the MACD held before you jump in it for the swing long. Again, it's a possible nibble. I mentioned in my last video last week about looking at the weekly MACDs for swing trading. And I think it's important. Like look at APKT. We talked about how we have an ascending triangle. It's looking to test the resistance. This is the daily chart. Indicators looking pretty good. But, well, what does the weekly look like? Weekly looks like it's not ready to buy. You see the MACD underneath its EMA 9, but you can see that it's turning. So it goes right back to my point without even having looked at the weekly, which is I would like to see it break through this horizontal resistance and hold it for a day or two. That'll turn the MACD up on the weekly. Let's maintain some volume, maybe some consolidation above, maybe even a little pop, and then drop back to this horizontal line. And then if it moves back up again, then that's a buy. That shows strength on this support. Okay, BHI CAT broke through horizontal resistance last week again on Tuesday. Everything kind of moved together last week, right? But we have decreasing volume. We have MACD, which is bouncing off zero, which is good, but we're way underneath its EMA 9. Momentum is still under 100, and you notice that the ADX is on the wrong side of happy. So I don't like it yet. I don't like CAT. I like CAT long-term, big picture, but I'm talking about entries. I mean, look at its move up. Obviously, you have to like it. I need to watch it for a couple days. We have a really wide Bollinger Band, so there's no real incentive for it to just cut loose here. I'd really love to see it pull back to this horizontal level, or at least consolidate. We have to see what it does in the next couple days. Right now, I'm completely neutral on it until it does something. See, the MACD is desperately holding on to try to stay positive on the weekly. So for me, I'd like to see it pull back, or at least consolidate for a while. Now, if it jumps up and starts testing these highs, we'll have to look at the chart again, okay? But for now, CAT is a wonderful stock, but I think we can find a better entry. Fossil. I've been looking for the fossil breakout, and it came on Wednesday into Thursday, but it sure was weak. It was not supported by volume. It's not doing anything. MACD is still underneath EMA 9. We actually have ADX is positive cross, but I mean, look at this green. That shows a little negativity in the strength on Thursday. Now, one thing that does look good is that finally the Bollinger Bands are starting to come together, which means that during this range, when it was consolidating, you notice how wide the Bollinger Bands were. I think he actually goes by Bollinger, but I always call it Bollinger. Anyway, Bollinger Bands are often a really good indicator of a squeeze of an impending strong move. Like you see how tight it is here, and then you see the move, right? Well, if you just study the Bollinger Bands and were a hardcore Bollinger Band trader, you would say to yourself, this is too wide for this move to make to do much. And it actually played out that way. This move is not impressive on Thursday and Friday. But the Bollinger Bands are coming together, which means it might actually now be setting up for a move if it consolidates and holds on this support level, this horizontal support level. It's actually acting now like give it a couple days, give it a little time, and it may move strong soon. So let's watch it. I want to see if it holds this horizontal support. It doesn't look like, unless something comes out. I haven't looked at the earnings calendar, so that's something I should bring up, was look at the earnings for all these before you go into any of them. Um, I want a couple of days on this and then revisit it and see what the Bollinger Bands are doing. Probably won't chase it before then. FTO. Let's see. Oil and gas. MACD, as you notice, it's one of these slowly meandering down MACDs while the price is slowly meandering up. I keep thinking that we're about to have a big drop in oil prices because the underlying trades in oil are showing weakness opposite of the direction of the price. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. I don't trade it in anticipation. I let it happen first, so I could be completely wrong, and that's perfectly fine. But you notice that these peaks, like on RSI, this peak is lower, even though price is higher. Same with MACD. Momentum is drifted down below 100. So could FTO go? Yeah, the Bollinger Bands are getting pretty tight. It could. You know, I'd wait for it to get above this big red candle to confirm, considering there's a lot of negativity, and I would go in small, personally, if it does break, because I'm not convinced, and then I may scale in more as it goes on. But let's see what the weekly looks like. It's not bad. There's nothing ugly here. You know, MACD may be acting like it's topped out a little bit, possibly. But overall, it's not bad. It's not a bad weekly. It's more of the maybe near term. It just looks like oil to me feels heavy on a lot of stocks. IO. I actually like this setup. Where did my lines go? I had lines on here earlier. Anyway, we have a bounce off 0 MACD. We have a nice strong RSI 7. You have a ADX cross. This is going to probably have to be my last chart because the screener just froze up on me. Sorry. I think I had a couple more, but this will probably have to do it. So you have an ADX cross down here. MACD is setting up to reverse. You have a nice move on price through EMA 21 and EMA 8. The only thing it lacked was a little bit of volume, but it could come. I would draw a line, but I can't really draw it because, again, it froze on me. But this line here, about 1320, which is resistance of these candles, or the peaks of these candles, I'd watch for those. And if we can get above those, with the MACD cross, we may be in business. So keep an eye on the IO. It's a tricky stock. I've been burned on this one a couple times. So if I do go in on it, it's going to be on an opening Bollinger Band, like back here and back here. Right now, it's a parallel Bollinger Bands, and it's, you know, if it breaks tomorrow, it's probably not going to open them up. So again, let's see what happens at 1320. Hopefully, we get a little collapse of the Bollinger Bands before then, and then we have a real reason to jump in. Well, I'll have to end it there on the Stock Twitch 50. I think I probably had 4 or 5 more. Maybe I'll make a separate video, but unfortunately my screener froze up on me again. It's time for a new computer. So maybe this will be part 1 of Stock Twitch 50 scan.